I don't understand how people can look at that and say, there's no mandate. There's a mandate.
Well, it's a different definition of a mandate, I guess.
But the problem is that if you're the Democratic Party and you lost 49.8% to 48.3%, and you're looking at that 1.5% dip, that's an excuse for you to say, what we did really wasn't that bad.
Well, some people didn't
we should continue to do that. Don't continue to do that. Find a new strategy.
That's disaffected liberal and man being asked to save the Democrat Party, Stephen A. Smith, potentially committing elder abuse on national television. Welcome to Nerk News. I'm Nerkish, and with establishment media attempting to move away from toxic elements of the far left like Joy Reid, rumors are circulating that ABC has not yet renewed the contracts of the View's Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar. Don't worry though, that hasn't appeared to change any of their awful behavior. Here's the ironically named Joy Behar getting absolutely destroyed by Stephen A. Smith for attempting to once again gaslight her viewers into believing that Americans aren't tired of the left's hysterical BS.
It's only been in office for 6 weeks. Seems like 6 years, doesn't it? And he's been going around with his cronies touting his so-called landslide and blowout win. But he won the popular vote by 1.5%, one of the smallest ever, and he won the general election by less than 50%. So what kind of mandate is this really?
Well, it is a mandate, and I'm going to explain why. And I don't mind the question, but let me be very clear. I'm no supporter of Trump. I'm a supporter of truth and the facts. And here's the facts. The man won every swing state. He increased in terms of his voter turnout in his favor from the standpoint of blacks, Latinos, and young voters. He increased his numbers in that regard from 2020. 89% of the counties shifted to the right. That's a mandate. We can sit up there and play around all we want to. In 2020, Trump didn't win the popular vote. He didn't win the electoral college vote. A matter of fact, the Republicans hadn't won the popular vote, if I remember correctly, since 2004. But they did this year. So 20 years after they last won a popular vote, they won the popular vote. They won the electoral college vote. The man won every swing state. And on top of it, 89% of the counties shifted against.
You know, nothing against Smith here, but one of the reasons he's been getting so much attention lately is simply because he's not a hysterical woke liberal who demonizes all of his opposition, which frankly is a little sad and should really tell you just how low the bar is now for the left. I mean, it's not like he's particularly charismatic or well-informed with a clear vision of the country or anything. He's basically what we would have considered a normal person from 20 years ago. Just a seemingly well-intentioned guy who's actually capable of having conversations with people he disagrees with. Yet things are so bad for Democrats and they're considered so fake and inauthentic, there's now serious talk about him running for president to save the party.
I mean, right now in the polls, you're nearly tied with Pete Buttigieg, AOC, Governor Gretchen Whitmer. You have a higher favorability than John Fetterman and Vice President Harris. What do you make of this?
I make of it that citizens, particularly on the left, are desperate. And I mean it when I say it. I think I can beat them all. And I have no desire whatsoever to run for office. I am not a politician. I am not qualified. But I know this much. When you consider who's on the other side and how he's gotten away with saying very little in terms of being coherent and articulating his thoughts clearly and concisely and what have you. This is not something that he's known to do. Yet and still, he has owned the Republican Party since 2015. Not only has he won, the Republican constituency has said, we don't want anybody else but him. We don't want DeSantis. We didn't want Haley. We didn't want Christie. We didn't want Ramaswamy. We didn't want DeSantis. We didn't want anybody. We want him.
What does that say about the Republican Party?
It's not about what it says about the Republican Party. It's about what it says about the Democratic Party.
Why?
Because in the end, if you think about him being impeached twice, 34 felony counts or 34 felony convictions, and they still elected him president, it's not about him winning. It was an indictment against the Democratic Party and what the Democratic Party was offering to American citizens. We might sit up there and talk about, hey, you should be a party for the working class, which the Democratic Party was once known for. They're not known for that right now. Why? Because their message was catering towards others and towards other issues, and they forgot about the people that brought them there, that elevated the Democratic Party to what it was over these last few decades. That's why they they lost. He didn't win.
Well,
the
let's
Democrats
remind
lost.
people what.
Say what you want about him, but Smith is absolutely right about Democrats. They have an elitism problem, a masculinity problem, and an authenticity problem, which is why people like Bill Maher are scrambling to back Democrat presidential runs for candidates like Smith and John Fetterman. I mean, the real problem for Democrats here is that they're desperate for people who are non-woke, but are having trouble finding them because that's basically been their entire brand since Obama's second term. Anyone with a shred of common sense has either been exiled from the party or moved to the right voluntarily. But let me know what you think. How much of Trump's mandate and massive win had to do with the unpopularity of Democrats? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye.